Hi everybody, my name is Horia Peruzzu and I'm a developer advocate at IBM. And today I want to talk to you about the IBM Blockchain Starter Plan and also how to create REST APIs and deploy them to the cloud. So the end goal of this video is to get something that is like this. So I have this public URL here and I have a REST API that is built upon my Composer network. So I have this Composer network, so mine will be inside my blockchain. And then if you look at my blockchain bean, I have all of my models. So here you can see the different participants. We have a regulator, a grower, a trader, and a shipper. Then we have our assets, cup coffee, coffee. And from this model, we're going to actually create a REST API so that when we link up our UI or front end with this REST API, we're actually calling the blockchain backend or the blockchain network. Okay. So again, as I showed you, we have cup of coffee here. We have the retailer, the regulator, the grower. We have the coffee, add coffee. So basically, at the end, the goal is to create this public server and then to link it to our blockchain starter plan. So our blockchain starter plan looks like this. This is the UI. So every time we write data to the ledger, we'll actually create a new block. If that block gets accepted and endorsed and validated by the peers, then we're actually going to add a new block here. So I'll show you how we would do that. If we actually make a pour cup transaction, we do a post request here. So I'll go ahead and copy and paste this data in. And then for the cup ID, I'll just make a random number here, NJB112233, and then I'll try it out. And then if I refresh this, it should be 725, and we should see that same NJB112233. So we'll see that in a second is this data being written to the ledger if everything went well. So yeah, we saw it actually worked out. In about 17 seconds ago, this data was written. And if we go inside the block and actually view the details, we'll see that cup ID that we wrote. So there it is. You can see that cup ID. We have the transaction ID. We have the date, the timestamp. So you see here it's September 28th. So yeah, that's the goal. So now let me back up and show you how to reach this point. Okay, so the first step into creating this REST API using Hyperledger Composer is actually to go to IBM Cloud and get an IBM Cloud account. So if you don't have an IBM Cloud account, I'll link a registration in the description. So this registration will give you $500 credits to apply towards the IBM Blockchain Starter Plan. So that will give you 1 month free to try it out. So I'll link that in the description. So now, once you've signed up for IBM Cloud, you can just click on this IBM Cloud button in the top left-hand side, and you should be, this is your dashboard. So the first thing we want to do is actually create a blockchain service. So we can go ahead and, actually we can click this create resource. And then in the catalog, we can go ahead and look for blockchain. And then here, this is where you might have to enter your credit card in. But just know that you have 30 days for free. So I'll just call mine Horia P Blockchain YouTube. So go ahead and click on the starter membership and then click create. Okay, so our network is created, as you see here. We can go ahead and click launch. And now, after we have created our service, now we're going to actually need to clone this GitHub repo. So all of the code that is needed for this blockchain bean demo is found in this GitHub repo. So it's just github.com/IBM/blockchainbean. So in here, in the contracts directory, you have all of the models, you have the Composer logic file, and you have the permissions file and the queries file. And then we have the BNA file here and the package.json. So let's go ahead and git clone this. So in your editor of choice, just go ahead and do something like git clone. So in a couple seconds, we should get all of the files from Blockchain Bean. And then after that, we can go ahead and install a couple dependencies that we're going to need with NPM. So a couple of the dependencies that we'll need are we can find them at this tutorial. So I'll link this tutorial in the description as well. So there's other prerequisites here that I don't want to get into for the sake of time, but you can find those here. So the first things, what we definitely need is this Composer CLI. We need to install this generator Composer and then this Composer wallet clouded. So I've already done all of those. I'm not going to do that for the sake of time. But now that we're now that we've actually cloned the repo, we can go inside. We see that we have the BNA file here. We have the package.json. So we have everything we really need. Great. So now that we cloned the repo, what we need to do next is we actually have to go ahead and go into our connection profile and click download. So this is going to give you all the credentials to access your network on the cloud. So in a couple seconds here, we'll see this credentials file being downloaded. So what's really important now is that, okay, so now that we've downloaded this connection profile, we have to rename it. So we can call it connection profile. And you can just leave it as the .json. And then we'll go ahead and put that in our work directory. And then we need to actually move this file into our blockchain bean directory that we just cloned. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So I moved it now, so you see the connection profile is in here. Perfect. So now that we've done that, the next thing we have to do is we actually have to create a database service to hold all of our credentials. So just the exact same way we created this blockchain service, you're going to go ahead and hit create resource, and then here we'll do cloudint right here. So it should be a free service. You should have you should be able to create this free service. I cannot create another one since I've reached the limit. So if I create this, it won't. Anyways, so it won't let me create anymore because I've already created too many. So once your service is created, you should see something like this, and then you can go ahead and hit this Launch Cloud Dashboard. And what we need to do now is we need to create a database, and we have to store all of our network credentials in this database. So we're inside of our Cloud Dashboard now, and now we're going to actually go and hit Create Database, and we want to name this database actually. Let's see here, Composer Wallets. So I'll go ahead and copy the name here. So we've created the database. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do, we've created this Composer Wallets, which is good. The next thing we need to do is actually create a new file within this blockchain bean directory and call it cardstore cloudint.json. And in here, we're actually going to just copy and paste this format. So this format that I just copied and pasted, I'll leave this in the description, or I'll create like a GitHub gist, and I'll leave that in the description. So now, what we need to fill out in this, we can go ahead and save it, but we need to use this connection. We need to use our credentials for Cloudit to actually fill those things out. So the first thing we need is this password. So we'll go ahead and grab the password. I'll go ahead and put here the username, and this is pretty straightforward. Just fill out all the blanks from your credentials, and then once you're done, we'll go ahead and save the file. And again, to actually get to these credentials, you would just hit New Credential and just say New Credential, click Add, and then that's how you kind of create these new credentials here. So I already had created one, but this is the process you need to take to create a new one. Okay, so great. You see my new credentials here. again, it should be the exact same thing, but different actual credentials. Okay, that's great. So we saved this. Now what we need to do is we actually have to output these and export it. So we're gonna clear, and then we're gonna use this export node config, and we're basically just gonna take exactly the contents of this file, and we're gonna use this as our configuration for later.